Alright, so this should be posted tomorrow. So it'll be July 23rd. It's going to be titled kind of Grid Down and the Alternative Ways of Actually Powering Your House. So if you're looking at it from the perspective of everyone here talks about how we're going to lose power, and it's pretty much what's going to happen. You could lose power for 72 hours, and what is your goal, right? So if you do have a generator, if you have a generator enough to run your house for a couple days, that's a solution. If you have a generator that runs on propane, that's even a different solution. But now you're burning through propane in winter or that, so now you have two issues. You're burning through propane or you're burning through gas. One or the other is fine. So it's kind of I would say it's your first wave is a generator because it's quick, easy. The setup is not difficult, but it's not a continuous source of power. So, the pro to it would be you can go out today, buy a generator, and you can even get stuff set up so that your generator kicks in when your power goes out. And that's kind of a cool setup. Maybe that's a little more pricey, but anyways, you can have that kind of setup for reasonably, I would say, minimal effort on your end. It's pretty minimalist. Like, you're not going crazy buying a bunch of stuff. You're realistically just buying a generator and some cords, and then the fuel or however you want to supply it. Cool. Now, the flip side is, if you go around, I shouldn't say flip side, another option is wind. But to me, wind is extremely maintenance heavy. And if you look at wind farms, I guess if you go out west, there's a lot of dead wind farms because when the government cut off a lot of these grants to them, they couldn't afford to maintain them anymore. So now you have unmaintained, how would you put it? Unmaintained machines, and they're just dying. And now a bunch of them are falling over. The bearings are seized. They don't handle, how would I phrase this? A wind generator or a wind turbine works in an optimum range of speed of wind. So if it's too low, it's not going to spin. If it's too fast, they put on brakes and they won't move. They get out of the wind. So, it's not like, I have a super windy day, I'm going to have power. It's kind of a fickle system. The positive sides, I guess, it's renewable energy. The negatives I would put for wind are the maintenance costs are really high. It's dependent, again, on wind, so you have to have consistent wind, and it doesn't work in extreme conditions. So if you're dead on the water or you got storms, you could instantly damage it, or it's going to not work and you're not creating power. The third option I would put down is solar, which is everybody's traditional method. Everybody wants to go solar, right? So everybody wants to look into it, but everybody wants to do it the cheap way. Well, I hate to put it this way, there really is no cheap way to doing solar. Solar prices have come down significantly. Like the panels themselves, roughly $1 a watt, which is a lot cheaper, and the quality's better. So you're getting a good product for your money. Now, what I would consider for solar is that you look into it. I'd have someone come out, and one of the guys that I'm going to give you his name, I'm going to put his business in the link, and his name's Eric Pipkin, and he does solar mount, and he's a very successful solar engineer. I'll give him that title. Very good. He's the kind of guy that can come out to your property, your place, and tell you flat out what it's going to cost, what you're going to need, and the variations of how you want to set it up. With any off-grid setup, people want to do different things. Some want to sell power back to the power company and make their investment back, and that's all they want to do. Some want to store power and run off the grid. Some want to have the option to do both. You're able to store up power and you're able to sell the access to the grid. Those variations in price and what you're going to do. Now, you also have to realize that your entire house is going to be run off of solar, and it's going to be run off of a battery bank and a solar charging. The downside is cost. The downside is cost. the concept of going to Harbor Freight and getting a couple 100-watt or a couple of those 25-watt panels is good, and it's doable. It's a good way to learn and play with solar, and maybe turn some lights on, maybe turn some a TV on, or charge your radio, charge your batteries. And it's good. And I've seen other setups too, like the Big Family Homestead. They have kind of a self-contained unit, and it can run like an appliance, and it's got a little bit more self inputs, but it's really just an expensive battery that's got some easy to use inputs. So it's not going to run your house. It's not going to run everything you're going to want. Where I'm directing you to, and where if you want this kind of setup, it's going to cost you a little bit. But the flip side is you get incredible control, and you get the power. I mean, you literally get power, but you get the power to dictate your life. You get the power and the ability to say, I don't need to be on the grid anymore, or I'm not taking anything. I literally have a zero-sum electric bill, or they're paying me back, which is fun because it's fractions of what they charge you. So you have a zero-sum game. You lose power. Let's say we lose power like we do often, several times a month. You won't even notice it. You're sitting on battery bank power, and it's cool. Like, the freedom to be able to continue life without the hassle of having to struggle, of going to like the Big Family Homestead has the center, like, one, well, we have to shut everything down except our fridge. We got to keep that going. Okay, well, what if you want to run lights, or you want to run this, or you want to run X, Y, or Z, and you need this, or you need to run your, let's say you have a hot wire for your fence to keep your cattle in. You got to start picking and choosing, right? So it's not that I'm saying that solar is the only way to go, but or even anything alternative. I'd recommend having someone like Eric Pipkin come out, have solar mounts come out, and I'd have him to actually take a look at it, actually seriously look into it. Give him, tell him what you need. He'll run through the questions, and he'll be honest. And he's probably one of the most fair people I've ever met. What he would tell you is that here's what it's probably estimated to cost. And your big things are the solar setups, and even alternative setups like wind generators. It's not just plugging in and going. You have to balance your system, which meaning you have to balance the number of panels or the amount of kilowatts you're producing to the amount that you can store to the amount that you're going to use. Like, it all has to be within a realm of what you're going to use. And the battery bank systems aren't golf cart batteries. These are probably a lithium setup or a different setup where it's a built battery bank for you, and it's going to be custom made. Very cool guy. I've been to his shop. He can fabricate just about anything. I'm thinking of the last set, and then I'd say the last one, and probably the worst one, is hydro. And I'll give you examples of hydro. So let's say you think you have a pond. And my example is this too. We have a pond, and it drains off to the side. It's spring fed on one side, and it overflows onto another side where it goes out. So, wow, cool. You could probably put a spinning wheel and an alternator and make some power, or a generator and make some power. And the reality is no. Like, you're going to make so little power that it's not worth it. Now, if you had the setup where you had tremendous amount of head pressure, tremendous amount of gravity coming down, like where you maybe in a mountain range, cool, hydro can work. But, running it in the creek isn't going to give you a lot of power. I mean, some people are maybe able to get a kilowatt out of it, and that kilowatt's going to cost you a lot to produce that kilowatt. So you're not really getting a lot back for your investment. Secondly, because you're using water and liquids, the maintenance for it just went up. So again, for hydro, you're looking at high maintenance, a very location determined equipment. It has to be very location based. Or the alternative is you also can't just use it a normal thing. It's very dependent on the ability to produce pressure. So if you have low head pressure or low water, a creek that only goes a couple miles an hour, it's not enough. And to me, solar is where it's at. I will have an opportunity to hopefully do some solar demonstrations. I did pick up the Harbor Freight panels. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I think it's a great way to learn, play around with it, get some concepts on it, because if you know a little bit and then talk to someone who, like Eric, about it, like not coming from an expert viewpoint, but saying, hey, I know a little bit, I can maybe help, I can understand what you're saying, and you're not shocked or thrown off by the price. Solar as an investment for your house, though, will come back, though. Here's the thing. If you have a zero electric bill, or even if your electric bill is cut in half, let's say your electric bill is $200 a month on average, and let's say it's $100 now, well, that investment's gonna come back. And let's say you do lose power and you're running your things or you're running your stuff. How much is that to you for peace of mind and as an investment? Some of these things can get pretty much paid for themselves within, depending on how you set it up, between 5 and 7 years. And the panels are good and the setup's cool, and you wind up not having to be tied to anything. I think, to me, that's my greatest fear with prepping, is not being able to have power. Because if we do go into a long-term grid down, that scares me, not being able to have the lights, the ability to have, cooking's not the issue, but, and lights, we use oil lights, but still, an oil light that has a continuous kerosene fluid versus an LED light that it just is always on and not burning down your house. So that kind of freaks me out. So one of our long-term goals is to go to a complete solar setup. Unfortunately, because of the cost and our life hasn't stopped moving, it's not something that I'm going to be able to do today, tomorrow, or next week. But hope you found this video somewhat helpful. Maybe it was a little bit of a rambling, but I can just sum it up for you at the end. Too, if you're going to look for long or grid down power, I would say your top two choices, or your first choice, should be a generator, because you can get that going and it can power some of the things you need. And for short term, like the majority of the time you lose power, it's only a couple days. That works. And make sure you maintain your generator. It's also the lowest, I'd say it's the lowest cost. Your investment's low, the maintenance is low, and your output is good. I'd say the next thing I was going to say is wind. Wind is very location determined again, but on the same point, high maintenance, usually a low output, and expensive. So wind to me is not an option. Water or hydro, very, very location determined. Extremely high maintenance because you're dealing with water, and usually generally a low output unless you get the perfect location where, yeah, you can get a 15 kilowatt turbine because you have all that river pressure coming down a mountain. But most people don't. And again, it's still a high maintenance thing. You're looking at it, expensive bearings. Technically, if you think about it, anything that's mechanical, wind turbines, or I should say a turbine in general, anything like that, it's going to create wear. Where solar is passive, it just sits there, And yeah, solar does wear out. A panel could wear out. So you do have to kind of think about that. And there is some maintenance with making sure that you don't damage it. But solar really has some of the better costs for long term. Remember to check out Eric. I'll put the description in the link. Solar mount, US solar mount is extremely cool, and they're very, very good, extremely reliable. So give Eric a shout and subscribe, hit like. Thank you.